Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. We are talking all about the Euro 2020 final, which will be played at Wembley between Italy and England on Sunday. This sees the climax to what has been a very good and exciting tournament that has seen plenty of shocks and plenty of goals, and it all comes to a head on Sunday when Roberto Mancini's Italy meets Gareth Southgate's England at Wembley. Will football be finally coming home, or will Italy spoil the English party? All will be revealed on Sunday night when these two teams battle it out at Wembley for the right to be named the European champions for this tournament. I'm going to be looking at the game, I'm going to be talking about the game, previewing the game, whatever you want to call it. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get back to talking about the big Euro 2020 final on Sunday between Italy and England. It's the conclusion to what has been, in my opinion, a very exciting tournament. The climax to what it has been is upon us. This has certainly been one of the best European championships, or even one of the best overall international tournaments in general, in my lifetime especially. And it's going to end with Roberto Mancini taking on Gareth Southgate. Donnarumma against Pickford. Chiellini against Maguire, Verratti against Rice, Insigne against Sterling, and Immobile against Kane, among all other battles that will be taking place right the way across the pitch. It should be a very interesting game and hopefully a very exciting final overall. Italy endured extra time and penalties on Tuesday night, but kept their nerve to defeat Spain via the dreaded spot kicks after the two sides battled it out over 120 minutes in what was a 1-1 draw. Whilst England needed extra time to see off Denmark thanks to striker Harry Kane, who scored the winner in extra time as the Three Lions won 2-1 on Wednesday night against the Danes. In my opinion, this is going to be a very interesting game ahead. Italy have been fantastic to watch in this tournament so far. They play some great football at times. Their squad has been used appropriately, and when called upon, every player has come in and done a very good job hitting the ground running in this tournament, and that is difficult to do, especially in a tournament like this. To get every player on song hitting the ground running like this has been fantastic to watch. Their togetherness and their unity and their focus has been something that's been admirable and is what is driving them forward in this competition, and is behind what I believe is their very good display and why they've reached the final stage of this competition. The Italians have some dangerous players within their squad, within their ranks, a squad which combines youth and experience, and England will need to be wary of what the Italians possess and how the Italians have so many ways that they can hurt the English back line. One key area I'm interested in personally is going to be the left wing against the right back area. It's very likely that Lorenzo Insigne, barring any kind of injury or any major surprise that Mancini may throw up in his team selection, is looking to start at left wing for the Azzurri, and it's likely that he will be up against either Kyle Walker or Kieran Trippier, depending on how England decide to set up. But instantly, I'm looking at that area as a potential weakness that the Italians could potentially exploit. Already, I'm thinking if it is against the likes of Kyle Walker, then that is a race that I would love to see between two very pacey, two very speedy players in both sets of teams. But Walker hasn't exactly filled me with much confidence in this competition so far in terms of his positioning and his defensive overall duties. So, like I say, that could be one potential area the Italians look to exploit. But, like I say, overall the Italians have been great, and they've shown that they have different ways of hurting an opposition. As for England, their football may not be the most easy on the eye. It may not be the most attractive or nicest style of play to watch. It may not be the most entertaining or the most exciting football to watch, but it's certainly done the job so far. You cannot argue with that. Yes, England have been a little fortunate with the way that the majority of their games have obviously been played in front of a home crowd, in front of their own crowd at Wembley, with next to no opposition fans allowed in the stadium, meaning they have the atmosphere behind them and less travelling to do as well. But you still need to turn up and win those games. England teams in the past probably wouldn't have won half the games that we have won in this competition, and that's exactly what England have done here. They've gone on to win those games by any means necessary, and have done with the beginning, with the basis of a strong defence. That has been the baseline to how this England squad have progressed this far, a strong and solid defence. They've had a couple of nervy moments, there's no doubt about it. There've been a couple of nervy moments that this defence have had to contend with in this competition so far, but for the majority of it, it has remained strong, it's remained stubborn and very much resilient against every attack that has come their way. So much so that they've only managed to concede one goal, and of course that one goal came on Wednesday night against Denmark from the only free kick to be scored in this competition so far, which is quite incredible and quite a crazy stat in itself, to be honest. Southgate's team selections may not have been the most popular before kickoff. There may have been some of the most baffling team decisions that we've seen, but again, you can't argue that it's getting results, and it's getting results on this level, and that is the most important thing as of right now. They're getting the right results, and it's all you need regardless of the team selection. On Tuesday night, Spain's possession-based tiki-taka style of play wore down the Italians to a point where they looked finished at one point, and the Spanish could have gone on to win that game, and probably should have gone on to win that game if they had a more prolific striker up front. We could be sitting here and saying it would be Spain versus England in the final had they had a better striker up front, a better finisher up front. But as it is, the Italians went through on penalties, but the game did show that Italy's defence can be got at. For as strong as it has been, it can be vulnerable depending on how you play the game. And I'm sure that Southgate has looked at that, and he's looked at key areas on the pitch and looked at ways to exploit that Italian defence. And of course, we'll be using England's own style of set pieces and counter-attacks down the wings, particularly as ways that they can hurt the Italian back line and dealing damage to this Italian side. Of course, as I previously mentioned, there will always be question marks over the team selection regardless of what Southgate chooses, but again, you cannot argue that to get to this point of the competition and to get all wins apart from one draw under their belt, Southgate is getting it completely right now, and you cannot argue with results. But after playing 120 minutes on Wednesday night, it might be something more to think about with these players in terms of some changes. And I'm thinking about a couple of areas in particular. I think that Southgate will look to go back to a back three or back five, whatever you want to call it, on Sunday night. I think Trippier will come back in at right wing back. I think you'll have Luke Shaw on the opposite side at left wing back. And I think you'll have Kyle Walker drop into a right centre-back position alongside Stones and Maguire, with obviously Jordan Pickford in goal. In the central midfield, I think Declan Rice is a sure to start, but then it's a question mark over whether you pick Calvin Phillips or Jordan Henderson. You can make a case for either, both are incredibly justifiable. Phillips has obviously been the main choice throughout this tournament, but in terms of leadership, in terms of final experience, in terms of big game mentality, maybe Henderson could be the way to go in this final. It may seem harsh, it may seem a bit ruthless on Southgate's part to kind of drop Phillips for the final, despite him being very good throughout this entire tournament. But Henderson, the big game player, may be justified as to starting in this game. Further up the pitch, left wing, of course, Sterling. He seems to be a sure to start. He's arguably been the player of the tournament, dragging England this far, having a big say in all of England's knockout victories, and of course got England through past the group stages as well, seemingly all them weeks ago. And of course, Harry Kane, a danger in front of any defence, a danger behind any defence, a danger in front of goal. Definitely going to be starting. But what about the right wing? Does Bukayo Saka keep his place? Does Jadon Sancho come back into the side? Or does Southgate go for a more flair output, a more work rate output of Mason Mount? Or maybe, does Jack Grealish get a start? It seems unlikely given how he's been used in this tournament so far, but maybe Jack Grealish may be the surprise package that this Italian side may have to consider going forward. Be interesting to see. There are a few selection choices that will be very interesting to see how Gareth Southgate weighs up his options and what he decides to go for on Sunday. But they're not exactly bad headaches to have in terms of team selection, and not exactly bad plan Bs to have either, just in case things don't exactly go to plan. In my opinion, the game will follow a pretty simple pattern to understand. England will be happy to concede possession to the Italians and then try to win it back in key or higher areas of the pitch to spring their counter-attacks. But if Italy are able to move the ball quickly, get it to their key players, who I assume would be Verratti, Insigne and Chiesa, who of course Chiesa scored that incredible goal on Tuesday night against the Spanish, they can certainly deal damage to the England back line. And of course, if they're supplying Immobile at the same time, of course, he is another danger to look out for as far as the three lions are concerned. If they show up on Sunday and turn on the style, Italy can certainly upset England in this game. However, if England can win the ball back in the right areas, shift the ball forward quickly and flip defence into attack, then they can certainly catch the Italians out. It will certainly be interesting to see how Harry Kane fares against the likes of Jorginho, Chiellini and Leonardo Bonucci. They both may be in their mid-30s, they both may have a combined age of 70, but the pair have been excellent in this tournament so far. But as we saw on Tuesday night, Spain opted to play Dani Olmo instead of the usual Alvaro Morata as more of a false number 9 position, having him drop a little bit deeper between the lines, between the Italian backline and the midfield, and it caused some problems. It did create a bit of danger for the Italians, that if they had a better finisher, like I say, Spain would have probably advanced to the final instead of Roberto Mancini's side. But as it is, of course, Italy went through. This past season, we've seen Kane at a club level drop deeper and work very well with his fellow teammate Heung-min Son. Of course, Kane drops deeper and acts as more of a playmaker. And of course, with this England squad, when you think that they've got the likes of Saka on one wing, Sterling on the other, or you could even mix it up with Sancho or even Marcus Rashford if he is to come in, it's created a scary partnership at club level, and of course it could create some scary partnerships on Sunday if Kane decides to play like that. And I think it is worth considering if you're Gareth Southgate to play something like that that was similar, because like I say, it kind of worked for Spain, and if they had a better striker up front, it would have worked even more. But for England, they of course have the better finishers, I think better finishers than Spain in my opinion, so it could be something to look into. But overall, I think both teams have clear ways that they can inflict damage on the other. So it is prediction time, and honestly, I know that I've backed Italy throughout this entire tournament. I've backed them from the beginning. I made them my dark horses for this tournament. They were my second favourites to win it, because let's face it, I, like a lot of people, have France to win this competition, but that didn't exactly work out, did it? So I kind of made Italy my backup team to win this competition. And I know that I've been critical of Southgate in the past. I know that I've said that he wasn't good enough for England. I know that I've questioned a lot of his decisions as manager regarding team selections, and questioned and said that they were wrong, and why he was out of his depth, so to speak. But the more I think about it, the more I look at this final, the more that I view this final, I actually see England going on to win the tournament. I actually see England going on to win the Euros this year. And for right now, hey, I'll admit, on my preview on England, on Southgate right now, because I still think there are still some question marks over his ability. I still think there are some question marks over him in general. And I think he has got away with a few things in this tournament so far. I'll be honest. I'll be honest and say that I was wrong on some of my preview stuff on England over the course of this tournament. I was wrong. And right now that you can see that this whole England squad is playing for themselves, for each other, for the manager Gareth Southgate, and of course for every single person in the country. It's just absolutely incredible to see and to watch and to feel. The atmosphere that is created around the country has just been absolutely incredible. It will be tough, there's no doubt about it. It will be tough. There's no doubt that this Italian side will of course give a good account of themselves. Then they're a different and unique and they're a slightly different and unique Italy squad to what we've been used to seeing in the past. There's a bit more flair and a bit more speed to this Italy side than what we've been used to seeing with the usual solid defensive style that the Italians tend to play and display in previous tournaments. But another performance full of grit, full of determination, taking their chances of course in front of goal when called upon, and of course not doing anything rash, not doing anything stupid, and England can certainly defeat Italy in this game and can finally confirm that football's coming home. My honest prediction, a prediction that I've gone over a number of times back and forth in my head, in my mind, but I finally landed on one, is that England will win this game, and they will be doing so hopefully with plenty of goals, which is why I'm going to predict a 3-2 England win after extra time, and football will officially come home. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this tournament so far? What do you make of the final on Sunday? Who do you see winning the final between Roberto Mancini's Italy and Gareth Southgate's England? Where do you see the key battles lying? How do you see both sides setting up? Who do you think will be the match winner? Player, man of the match? Who do you see being the player of the tournament so far? All of these things, your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions on everything regarding Euro 2020 or 2021, whichever you want to call it, and the final on Sunday will surely make for interesting reading down in the comments section below. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things always and forever greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Wherever you're watching the final on Sunday, stay safe, enjoy it, drink it in, whatever it may be, enjoy it for what it is. I've been Fletch, this has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.